Maclunky.
Welcome to Round 1 Swiss of the SGC Columbus Star Wars Unlimited 2K, brought to you by Maclunky Gaming. Today, we have Jake versus Dusty. Joining us with expert commentary are Tower number 9 and Endless. Enjoy the match.
We get some dice roll for initiative here. I wonder if this Iden deck is also running my favorite card, which is Search Your Feelings.
Yeah, you know, some
that.
of those Iden builds have played Search Your Feelings before. I'm not sure if this one is going to be doing it. I think that can be especially helpful in the ridiculous control mirrors that end up almost entirely focused on vigilance, mill, and various cards that interact with that, such as you have restock. You often have discard effects to try to target your opponent's vigilance and restocks, and in that type of environment, Search Your Feelings can be very effective. Looks like Jake Tilk is going to start us off with a Kylo's TIE Silencer. Dusty just takes the initiative.
Well, that makes sense that there may be no turn one here from Dusty if he's playing like hard control. We're not going to see many units maybe.
Yeah, I mean, an Inferno 4 would be pretty nice to see for Dusty, but I think it's not too uncommon for these decks to try to skip either turn 1 or turn 2 so that they can play a Child Sin with the full +4/+4 on the third turn of the game. We might see a Power of the Dark Side here. Yep, that's or is that a Power of the Dark Side? Oh no, that's actually a new card. This is the new double blue event that gives potentially multiple units a stat debuff, in that case being used just to kill the Kylo's TIE Silencer.
What is that, Equalize? Is that the one?
Yeah, I think it's called Equalize. Let me look this up just to make sure.
Yeah, Equalize is a great card into this deck. I believe if it's giving -2 to everything, that's huge. Because I mean, you're going to be able to.
It's -2/-2 to one unit, and then if you control fewer units than that unit's controller, you give -2/-2 to another unit. In this case, he played it when there was only that Kylo's TIE Silencer, but it still got a kill. And wow, yeah, on this next turn, we're seeing Dusty do exactly the move that I was just discussing with the Lieutenant Childson +4/+4. Jake, however, came back with that multiple small unit stuff that you were mentioning earlier, Endless, bringing out a Cartel Spacer and a Greedo after his Silencer got killed by Equalize.
And we're going to see some damage bleed through in the space arena, at least for now. Childson came out with a big 6/6 now.
Yeah.
So he's going to be a nice big wall for any ground aggro.
Does Jake have a waylay or something? Doesn't look like it.
Confederate Tri-Fighter coming out.
Spicy play.
I love that card.
Tri-Fighter. Yeah. Okay. So this Tri-Fighter, the Confederate Tri-Fighter, is a 3-cost aggression villainy space unit. It's a 3/3, and it says bases can't be healed.
Yeah, it's going to demand an answer.
That is definitely not what you want to see if you're playing Iden. Iden is one of the leaders that has the most healing of anything in the game.
Yeah, Tri-Fighter is like one of the best cards I think that came out of the new set, in my opinion, just as from a technical standpoint, like specifically teching against, healing.
I think the Tri-Fighter has one big weakness though.
Yeah.
The problem with it is that if your opponent plays Vigilance against you, they can choose to defeat the Tri-Fighter first and then resolve the heal, and because the Tri-Fighter's off the field when the heal resolves, it doesn't block it. So that is a potential weakness relative to Wolf, who can attack and then disable healing for the whole turn even if he gets cleared. But Wolf is timing sensitive and the Tri-Fighter isn't, so there's some advantages and disadvantages to each.
Definitely. And I did want to say that it looks like Childson hit a Greedo, and Greedo did discard a surprise strike, but it's not enough to kill the 6/6 Childson.
That's right.
So I think that might be net positive for Dusty here, because that's
Dusty
a surprise strike out of the deck.
Dusty erroneously uses Iden's ability here. They aren't keeping life totals on the base. I think they're just using pads. I hope that Jake caught that heal should not go off here, thanks to the Tri-Fighter blocking it. But it's possible Dusty was aware of that and did it on purpose just to stall. This is a tactic that you sometimes see with Iden where you can use that ability even if you haven't killed something or even if your base is full or whatever, in order to essentially pass without passing.
Right. I love doing that, by the way. That's sort of like little dirtle.
And it looks like they are getting some stuff out to mark damage on the base. That is good. 7 damage on Dusty's base at this time.
We are approaching the 6 resource turn.
Yes, on 6 resources, Iden will be able to take the field, and on 5 resources, Jango will be able to take the field.
Right.
Oh, and there is the vigilance.
Yeah, 4 cost vigilance for the destroy
What
the.
is he Oh, really weird.
Yeah.
He kills, but then instead of healing his base, he puts a shield on Lieutenant Childson.
Huh.
That's interesting.
That's really interesting. I wonder, what does he think is coming in the ground arena? Or, oh no, you know what that is? It's to prevent a ping from just killing Childson.
Yeah, so it does mean Childson won't die to a ping. Right now, he could have been cleared actually by Tarkintown, and this way Childson is going to be in Jango's way.
Love that.
Jake deploys Jango. Now, the thing is, if Jake has a ping, he could use the ping to clear the shield and then use Tarkintown to clear Childson and open the door for Jango.
Yeah, I think that's the appropriate line here, but I'm wondering what he's
I don't know if
got
he
in
has
hand.
it, though. It looks like there's a Fet's Fire Spray, a Surprise Strike, and I'm not sure about that third card.
It might have been Lurking Tie. I couldn't see.
Lurking Tie Phantom is interesting in this matchup. It's a little risky because the double blue deck has a fair amount of -2/-2 effects that will just kill the Phantom outright.
So he didn't have it. He just ate 6 damage there on Jango from
Yeah.
Childson for a
And then
shield.
he is going to fire the Tarkintown to clear Childson, but he had to take a lot of damage on Jango to do it.
Another Kylo tie.
Kylo's Tie Silencer, okay. All right. Dusty drawing on up. I think there's a Death Trooper in hand, so that Death Trooper is now poised to take out Jango if that's in fact what I'm seeing there. But Jake still has some space units. I don't know. Dusty needs to put up either start clearing these space units or put up some kind of sentinel to oppose the space threat. Otherwise, he's in trouble. 6 resources, playing something big. Oh, and there is a space sentinel.
That's the is that the Saxon Gauntlet?
Yeah, it's the I believe that is the Clan Saxon Gauntlet, a 4/5 sentinel, and when this unit is attacked, you may give an experience token to a unit before damage is dealt. And in this case, I don't think it's going to live for very long because Jake could just fire off the surprise strike that he has in hand. And if he does that with the Kylo's Tie Silencer, it'll be 6 total damage, which is enough to clear that Clan Saxon Gauntlet, even with the experience on it. On the other hand, it would use up a surprise strike, kill Kylo's Tie Silencer, and then give Dusty an opportunity to use Iden's heal.
Goes in 3 to base from Jango. Iden deploys.
Iden deploys. Okay, so not going to use the leader side healing, but with Iden on the field now, it's active as a passive ability, and Iden can actually clean up Jango herself here.
Right, since she comes out shielded.
Also, because Dusty got the chance to deploy Iden before that gauntlet was removed, if the gauntlet is attacked, Dusty could choose to give the experience to Iden instead of to the gauntlet itself, and then get some extra value out of that play.
Ooh, that's a spicy combo right there. I like that. Giving the experience to Iden, making her a 5/5.
Yeah, I think in this situation, yeah, it looks like Jake is going for the surprise strike play, rethinks it, and then he goes in. He has to go in with Kylo's Tie Silencer here, even though he might prefer to lose the Spacer, because if he goes in with the Spacer and surprise strike, it's 5 damage. The Gauntlet has 5 HP, so it could give itself the experience and live through the attack. So he has to use his 3 attack unit with this play.
Sort of fell out the way you predicted here with
experience on Iden. Iden clears Jango.
Exactly.
That is an experience and not a shield, I believe there. And then Dusty also healed 2 from that, 1 from the TIE silencer and 1 from Jango.
There's a
But
lurking
now
tie.
Jake is bringing out that Phantom. Let's see if Dusty has a -X effect in order to clear the Phantom. That's what he's really looking for here. He does have an Entrenched in hand. That could be played on the Phantom to prevent it from attacking, which might be his next best option if he doesn't have a -X.
These are getting a little scary now because we're hitting the 7 and 8 resource turns pretty soon,
Yeah.
where the big stuff comes out, and this is, Dusty's actually like he's kind of feeling good, I think, because he's cleared the leader, he's got a buffed Iden, he's closing in on the 7 and 8 resource turn, he's only taken 10 damage on his 30 health base. Like, this feels really good as the control player.
Yeah, especially if he has a Snoke waiting. I can't quite see his hand, but Snoke would kill the TIE Phantom and debuff the spacer down to only 0 attack and 1 HP, which would put him in a pretty commanding position, especially because many of Jake's units would not really be able to do much of anything against that. Not be able to do much of anything against Snoke. Some of them just dying when played. Looks like he goes for a swing with Iden first.
Yeah, I'm wondering what Jake has to, get things rolling here. He does 4 to base with the lurking tie.
Hyperspace Cube in chat says he resourced the Snoke. Hopefully he draws another.
Oh,
Tski8825 asks, hello, where did Jake's leader go? Iden was used here by Dusty to take out Jango after Jango took some major damage swinging into Lieutenant Childson, Tski. Dusty doesn't seem to have an answer for the space stuff before it attacks this turn, and some more damage, 6 damage added to his base here.
yeah, he must be passing, trying to time this correctly. I guess he doesn't want to play into open resources. I'm guessing that's the reason he's passing so much.
Yeah, so he could have gone for that entrenched on the lurking TIE Phantom, which would shut it down. One interesting thing here that not everyone may be aware of is that if Dusty plays Power of the Dark Side, Jake can choose to resolve it against the lurking TIE Phantom, at which point it doesn't do anything. So the lurking TIE Phantom is an interesting counter to that. Now Dusty does play the entrenched on the Phantom, but only after it already got a chance to swing this turn.
Maybe a little bit of indecision there. Is that a
Another
tri-fighter?
Tri-Fighter, yeah. Blocking
Okay.
heals once again. So if Dusty does do something to take out one of these units, Iden's heal will now not be in effect. Looks like Dusty's exhausting 2 resources. Does he have another entrenched, maybe? Let's see what he goes for here. It is
Another
another
one.
entrenched, and he puts it on the Tri-Fighter. Now, the downside to doing this is it does mean the Tri-Fighter is now 6 HP, which makes it harder to remove, and might mean that the healing is going to stay blocked for some time.
Yeah, I'm just curious about what Dusty's gonna do here.
Yeah, it's interesting. So he's stopped 2 of those space units with entrenched, making it so that they can't attack the base. He is going to take 2 damage from this cartel spacer here. Jake had played a no good to me dead on Iden, so Dusty's not going to get the chance to swing for that 5 damage. Let's see what Dusty's follow-up play here is.
Right, I mean, with the entrenched on both of those units, like, Snoke doesn't do anything to them now.
Yeah.
And then I'm guessing he needs to fish for, like, super laser is probably the thing he wants.
Yeah, and it's interesting too because the entrenched Phantom here can actually, so the entrenched Phantom hits for 7. I guess that's not, so there is the possibility here that Dusty will want to play out Avenger, which is usually one of your kind of win condition cards. But these buffed units might be able to handle it.
There's
Ooh.
Fell on Spire Spray, spicy.
Yeah, Fed's Fire Spray countered by Fell the Dragon. And Dusty incorrectly heals 1. That should not be in effect thanks to the Tri-Fighter. Hopefully the players catch that. And then it looks like a takedown on the cartel spacer.
And then he keeps healing. Or no,
Yeah, and I
they
think
caught it.
Jake pointed out the Tri-Fighter there, and Dusty correctly went back to his previous life total.
All right, going into the 9 resource turn.
This is not where you want to be as the Jango player. I'll tell you that. This is not at all where you want to be against one of these hard control builds.
Yeah, both of my dudes entrenched. I have less than 20 damage on the opponent's base. I'm blocking his healing, but every turn this game continues, I mean, Dusty's going to come into his power, and Jake is like running out of gas. Oh, never
This is a
mind. There's some
Ruthless
reach.
Raider. That's not bad.
That's some reach. Yeah.
2 damage to Iden and exhausts her with Jango, and now he is up to that 20 damage on base. Still 10 HP for Dusty, but his healing is blocked unless he can clear that Tri-Fighter somehow.
Yeah, and I mean, as much as I was saying that Dusty looks favored, it's like there is a chance, like
Oh yeah,
Tarkin the Death Star.
it's not over by any means. I do think
No, no, no.
will
There's
near
Snoke.
Supreme Leader Snoke, but that's not going to actually generate any kills with those entrenched in play. So Snoke is debuffing those units, though.
Yeah, he's debuffing the Raider.
Deck 104 says under the shield, you love to see it. Deck, I think confusingly that die on Iden is actually an XP, not a shield. I don't know why they used a blue die for that. I think it's a little confusing, and I thought they had a green die out earlier, but yeah, that's an XP from the Clan Saxon Gauntlet. So Iden has +1/+1, but is not shielded. Well, this Ruthless Raider can swing this turn, but it would only deal 2 damage.
Yeah, and I mean, what's the answer here for Dusty? Like, I'm wondering. Did he
Well,
have a
okay,
third entrenched?
so at this point, Super Laser Blast would kill his own Snoke, which isn't actually that good.
Right.
A takedown. So takedown would kill the Raider. He could. I think he has an Avenger in hand, which he could bring out. And then just start attacking into those units to clear them. It would be a little annoying because Jake could choose to resolve the Avenger's ability on the Lurking TIE Phantom and then not take damage from it, or not
Right.
lose units from it, rather. So it's actually kind of a clunky answer in this situation. Ironically, the entrenched that Dusty threw onto that Phantom is now saving it from being killed by Snoke.
Raider goes in for 2.
Jake could just win by attacking 4 more times with this Raider if the healing situation doesn't get cleared.
That's right. Snoke in for 6.
Yeah, six damage from Snoke. And then Iden can potentially swing for another 5 here. So I think Dusty is now actually winning this race. With Jake's units, 2 of them aren't able to attack. They're all debuffed. Jake is doing 2 damage per turn, while Dusty is potentially doing 11.
Yeah, that's not a good. That math is not good for Jake. It's just funny when you're getting beaten up by Supreme Leader Snoke. He's like, got his fists out. He's punching your base.
Yeah, I mean that's how some of these games tend to end when you're playing one of these harder control decks. Oh, there's a no good to me dead on Iden. That's gonna buy Jake some more time. But yeah, often these hard control decks are kind of trying to just keep the board small and then bring out Snoke and Avenger and start swinging. It looks like Inferno 4 hitting the field for Dusty. And both of the cards that he sees on the top of the deck get sent to the bottom.
Man doesn't like it, so he puts them on the bottom.
Players thinking over the situation here. It does look favorable for Dusty, but he only has 8 HP left. It's not over by any means. I think Jake is contemplating swinging one of his units to take out Inferno 4. He could clear it with either the Phantom or the Tri-Fighter, and it would mean Dusty doesn't have another unit that could swing at the base, but it would also mean that Dusty gets to look at his top 2 cards again and do some more filtration there.
Yeah, so I mean, it's negative either way. Like,
Yeah,
you're gonna clear the space unit, but you're gonna let your opponent filter.
Right. The question is, which effect do you care about more? Do you want to remove the potential 2 damage from base from Inferno 4, or do you want to deny your opponent that extra filtration? Waylay on Snoke.
Alright, so everything comes back to full power. Good.
A
That's a
little
good
odd though,
waylay.
because Snoke can just be replayed, and that's
Oh, never
exactly what we
mind.
see from Dusty.
Never mind. I forgot the open resources.
Yeah.
Well, it made him spend 8 for whatever reason, but I don't know if those are 8 resources he would have spent anyway. Well, I
Yeah.
guess one thing is that, we do see the Avenger in hand.
Yep.
So in a sense it like blocks Avenger because he needs the
Avenger
-2 to
costs
stay
9
alive.
though. I think he
Oh,
had
Avenger
I
costs
think he
9.
had enough resources to replay his Snoke, but not to play the Avenger. But it did block any other play that Dusty might have made. I think he
Yeah.
had another card or two in hand, and maybe some smuggle stuff also. So maybe it at least bought Jake some time in that sense. Hyperspace Cube asks, "Wow, was that redemption?" I don't know. I have heard of people playing out of
Actually,
aspect
yeah,
redemption medical frigate
it
in control, but I don't know if that's what we saw.
it is. It's 100% a redemption out of aspect in his hand, which I love. I love that
ISB
idea.
agent showing a triple dark raid from hand. So the problem with redemption here, though, is that the healing is still blocked. That Tri-Fighter is really posing a big obstacle for Dusty here.
Right, that was a good use of Django's ping to ping Snoke down to make the race a little more equal.
Yep.
Like
Inferno
that
4 goes into base for 2.
Raider into base for
And
2.
this is a slow race, but it's now
Yeah,
it's looking like Jake is maybe pulling ahead here. 6 HP left for Dusty.
here comes.
It's
Uh,
gonna be the Avenger. Oh
oh
no,
no,
it's
but it's
redemption.
blocked. But it's
The healing
blocked.
is fully blocked. What is he doing? He can't heal here.
Uh-oh.
He erroneously damages his base. I Why is he damaging his I don't understand this. It seems to me like with the healing blocked, you almost surely want to not heal your base at all and just throw it out with the maximum possible HP as a sentinel.
Right, you would just throw it up as a 6/9 Sentinel and block the Raider forever, basically.
Why did he damage it? Why did he damage it there? Did maybe he I don't understand that at all.
Yeah, me either.
And now it's dying to that phantom, and yeah, so because it dies to the phantom was swinging in for 5 damage, so the damage did go on there, but he didn't heal anything from his base. I don't know. I don't know what happened there. I don't
I might have
understand that play.
It might have been a straight up misplay. Like he might have just forgotten that the Tri-Fighter existed.
I'm pretty sure the floor rules for this game would allow you to just take that back and say no heal.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know. It's it's interesting. I could be wrong about the floor rules. And J Franny 43 says, pretty sure you literally can't deal the damage to redemption. It says heal and then deal that damage. So I think, yeah. Okay. I don't know. I don't know exactly what happened there. I think it was I think it may have been misplayed by the rules. It was certainly misplayed by the strategy, I think. I don't know exactly. I don't know exactly how that worked, but it does seem that there was some kind of blunder with the redemption. Uh, T-Ski asks, if he laser blast, does he get to heal with Iden too? I think that works, but I'm not 100%. I know that you can I know you can use vigilance, kill the Tri-Fighter, and heal, but I think the reason that works is because they're two separate effects. I don't know how it works if there's like a mass removal effect that removes it at the same time as a bunch of other stuff. Well, there's only 3 HP left on Dusty's base, and I'm not sure he has an out at this phase. He throws okay, that'll buy him something. He throws in another
No.
entrenched out.
So now
This
Raider
time
swings for
on
2 and he still lives. Go ahead.
Yeah, so now ISB agent swings for 0. I probably an error. Yeah, Dusty points out Snoke, but Jake, I guess, takes that attack in anyway. So that doesn't do anything. It might be a stalling action on purpose. I don't know. Um, Inferno 4 swings into the base here. 15 damage. I think he's just switching his dice. Okay, so then the Raider swings on in. It's still debuffed by Snoke, but it should do 2 more damage and leave Dusty on 1 HP. It doesn't look like they're actually tracking that. I'm hoping they remember it. Snoke swings in. There's 21 damage on Jake's base. If he doesn't have a way to stop Iden, does he just lose here?
I mean, he needs to put like good to me dad on Iden, or there's triple dark
Triple
raid.
Dark Raid. Okay, so if Jake can find a Ruthless Raider with Triple Dark Raid, he wins from the direct damage to base. If he finds something that can ping Iden, he stays alive. And if he doesn't manage to destroy the base or ping Iden, he just loses immediately to Iden swinging into his base, I believe. Shout out to Chrono Swoo and to Deck 104 for subscribing to the Maclunky Gaming channel, by the way. We appreciate the support, and Deck 104 also gifting a bunch of subs to other people. Thank you so much, Deck 104, for gifting 10 Tier 1 subs.
Awesome, Deck 104. Thank you. So he finds a P38 and pings Iden down with triple dark raid, and then
Yeah,
it dies
but
immediately to Snoke.
I think Dusty can just take initiative here.
Right. I mean,
He'll have the initiative and can swing in with Snoke, or okay, here there's a punishing one. Can Jake somehow defeat an upgraded unit to get that punishing one readied for a swing that would win the game? If Dusty claims here, I think he just wins.
yeah, I don't see any way out for Jake, actually.
What are they doing? The players are discussing something. Looks like they're cleaning up.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Dusty got that one.
Based on my reading of the board, it would seem to me that Dusty probably won that by just claiming and then having the attack for lethal, but I don't know for sure. Force Commander Krugar, thank you for subscribing to the channel as well. Katz asks, is that blue die on Iden a shield? Then she can't even be tapped down. No, it was actually an experience token. I don't know why they used a blue die. They had a green die, but they went with the blue die for whatever reason. Yeah, so Iden had +1/+1, but she was not shielded in that scenario. She had been buffed by a Clan Saxon gauntlet. And so I'm assuming that was a win for Dusty, and we are now moving on to round 2 after some sideboarding. Mephisto, thank you for the subscription here as well.
Thanks everybody for dropping subs. Go ahead and support Maclunky Gaming. This is really nice that they're bringing us this coverage, and it's
absolutely.
a pleasure to cast for them.
Big shout out to Titanic and to Claire for doing the production here and making this stream possible here at the Maclunky Gaming channel.
So I guess what I'm seeing here from Jake is that we've got to get, if I'm in Jake's shoes, let me just say, we've got to get some more units on board faster.
Yeah,
that's
that
really
was
the
a
issue.
very odd and protracted game. I don't entirely know. I'm still not sure what happened with that Redemption Medical Frigate scenario. But it did seem like Dusty was able to get there. Jake needs to try and bring out units fast, especially multiple small units if possible.
And he got close. He got to 1 HP.
Yeah, he got about as close as it gets, but didn't quite close the deal. That Supreme Leader Snoke, which we were sort of discussing early on, indeed proved to be a huge obstacle for Jake.
Something else we didn't see also is that we didn't see an early TDR, an early triple dark, because that he may not have even drawn triple dark until the very end.
It is worth noting that if Jake had hit a Ruthless Raider, he straight up would have won that game. So that was like very much in contention until the last turn.
Exactly. His triple dark didn't find the Raider, unfortunately. But you're absolutely right about that. Like if TDR had hit a Raider, he would have won immediately.
In general, though, I think this is a pretty favored matchup for Dusty. Katz asks, why does the ship die? In that situation, the ship would have died because Supreme Leader Snoke was in play, so it would come into play and be a 0 HP if he had in fact gone for a that. But I think I'm not not that, but I think since Iden didn't have a shield, she was exhausted just by the initial ping anyway.
Right. So we were discussing that I think at the top of the stream, that like the advantage of Snoke here is that it can kill multiple space units. Like
Yeah,
anything on
but
2 or 1 health, it just dies.
a bunch of the space units are actually really unfavorable into Snoke. So the 3/2 stat line in space is pretty popular right now. But Snoke just kills all those units, and he kills also some of those units through defensive tech. So the 7th Fleet Defender comes into play with a shield, but Snoke doesn't care about the shield. The lurking TIE Phantom is immune to direct damage, is immune to defeat effects, can't be captured, but -X still works on it, so Snoke kills that unit directly as well. Snoke is really a big obstacle for some of the units in this deck, and really for a lot of units that are in aggro decks as a whole.
I mean, in some senses, like Snoke kind of just won the game when he came out. Like I'm just reflecting on the match, and sort of like as soon as Snoke comes out, it's like okay, nothing. Everything that can attack you is nerfed. Snoke himself is swinging for 6, which is very respectable into a 25 health base.
Yep.
There's just a lot of like great things that Snoke accomplished in that match.
Yeah, and I will say, as an aggro player playing Sabine, I have won through Snoke, but it's hard. And usually, you want to be like close to a winning position before he hits the field for that
There's
to
the
work out.
Inferno.
Yeah, looks like that's going to be the Kylo's TIE Silencer leading us off from Jake. Dusty plays Inferno 4. And let's see how this goes. Platform 327 says Snoke is a great card now. Yeah, Snoke is very strong. To be honest, I think Snoke has gotten better as the meta has shifted a bit. Earlier on, against kind of the more Sabine style aggro decks, those decks tend to have units with higher total HP that don't immediately get removed by Snoke. But these villain cunning aggression space focused builds do run a lot of things that Snoke loves to see. All right, Jake swings on into the base for 3 damage here. Dusty's probably going to take this trade. Yep, that's exactly right. Looks at his top 2 cards. There's Redemption and Snoke. Those are both huge
Oh my
closer cards.
goodness.
But is he going to leave them on top of the deck, or is he going to send them to the bottom? He's leaving them on top.
He's like, I'm going for the long haul.
Yeah, Dusty is confident in his ability to make it to those big plays. Snoke is an 8-drop, and Redemption in this deck, being out of aspect, it actually costs 10 resources.
Yeah, it's a lot of resources. Client coming in.
Yeah, punishing 1 for Jake. Dusty uses Iden's ability to heal 1 damage from Kylo's TIE Silencer being defeated, and then brings out the Client. The Client is a really interesting card. So when he was first previewed, people were like, oh, this is crazy. This card is busted. Like, what is aggro going to do against this? In practice, he hasn't been as strong as he looked at first, but he can still be a big obstacle with potentially generating a large amount of healing through that bounty.
Client making the most splash in the Bosk Blue
Yeah.
configuration.
Bosk
Punishing
allowing you
1.
to potentially double that bounty or turn that ability into a source of ping damage is really strong. But it looks like Dusty's actually swinging for the base with the Client. He must not have a way to remove punishing 1 this turn.
Greedo.
Greedo hits the field. And there's
Childson,
a
5.
5/5 Lieutenant Childson showing Snoke entrenched and Redemption Medical Frigate. Now, the interesting thing about this is that if Greedo attacks into Childson and hits his top deck, he would actually kill him in one go because Childson is only 5/5 here and not 6/6. A lurking TIE Phantom hits the field and Dusty takes the initiative. I think we could definitely see. Oh, does he have? Was that a is that new -2/-2 card that we were seeing earlier? The Equalize.
It might be.
Equalize for the lurking TIE Phantom would be a great play here. Junior in chat saying it looks already better for Jango Tarkintown. You relative to the previous game, yeah, it could be. We'll see. Oh, that's so interesting. Dusty swings straight for the base. If he does have an equalize, he's not playing it to kill the Phantom yet.
Yeah, that's a little risky considering what's looking back at him.
Sauce TV says, "Look at this degenerate Iden Blue player." I will say, Iden Blue. I've played the deck. I like the deck. It is not the most fun deck in the world to play against.
No, I have a friend who plays on Caravas, and he kind of collects the salt that people give him for playing like Bosk Blue or Iden Blue.
Yeah, Iden is not Iden can be frustrating. The games can be long, and it's also a deck that has a large amount of removal and a lot of stuff that is annoying for opponents in some cases. But it's part of the game, and you should be prepared to potentially face it in a tournament and figure out your strategies against it.
I'm marking that Greedo there with Client. Looks like Client put a bounty on Greedo, which I love because it means if Greedo attacks and tries to 2-for-1 Childson, it means he gets to heal. Love that. It's basically telling Greedo, "Don't attack me."
It's interesting. He could have also put that bounty on the Phantom if his plan is indeed to use Equalize against it. But a funny thing here is that if Jake actually plays another unit here, Dusty can get a 2-for-1 with that Equalize. The thing about Equalize is that the ability only you only get the double version of the ability if the opponent has fewer units than you after the first part resolves, I believe. So he would need his opponent to have another unit on the field. But it looks like Jake is obliging with a triple dark raid. I think we're going to see the 2-for-1.
Yeah. So triple dark. He looks like he got some hits there with I see a fire spray. I saw a raider.
He's got really spoiled for choice here. What would your ideal triple dark raid target be here, Endless?
I think fire spray, like he's doing. That's my ideal target.
Fire spray. I think I actually like Raider more than fire spray.
Just because of the reach damage, and you can ping shield.
Yeah, because if you bring out a Raider, you get that when played damage. Oh, and
there's
is
the
Dusty's equalized double kill and proccing the bounty that was laid on Greedo there to heal 5.
Wow.
That is a huge value play for Dusty.
Love to see it.
He patiently waited for his opponent to have 2 more units than him so that he could get the 2-for-1 with that equalize, and it paid off pretty big there, I think. Fet's fire spray swings in for 5.
So that play with equalize, clearing 2 units and basically making it so that fire spray did 0 effectively.
Yeah, net
it was like
0 because it did 5,
net 0.
but 5 was just healed.
Exactly.
Dusty plays an entrenched on his own Childson, creating a huge barrier for his opponent's Jango Fett here. That Childson is now actually an 8/8 and will kill Jango in 1 hit.
Wow.
This is looking pretty good for Dusty, I gotta say.
Yeah,
That
Dusty
Fet's
with
fire
some
spray is
great
gonna
answers.
bounce back to hand.
Yeah, Dusty with some great answers here.
Jake opts not to even deploy Jango. He just takes the initiative, and Dusty uses Iden's ability to get another point of healing. I think not deploying Jango here, it might have been correct, honestly. The Childson there is just such a huge obstacle. Maybe Jake's hoping to get a waylay or something to bounce that Lieutenant Childson back to hand, get rid of the entrenched, get rid of the experience.
Yeah, I don't think there's any reason to deploy Jango into this because it's like, what? So here's the funny part about playing in this matchup, right? What does Jango actually benefit? Like, how does Jango's ability benefit Jake in this matchup?
Oh yeah, I mean it does almost nothing actually. This is one of the least effective matchups to have exhaust. That's not to say there are no uses for it. In the previous match, we saw him blocking a bunch of attacks that Dusty could have made, but in general, the control deck doesn't. doesn't really need to get attacks in fast. It needs to control the board and get into a situation where it has high inevitability.
Exactly.
And
Just grind out the opponent.
yeah, so those exhausts that are so useful when you're the tempo deck playing into like a straight aggro deck are a lot less effective when you're up against Iden double blue.
Yeah, does Iden actually care that much about your tempo, about its tempo? It's like not really. It just cares a lot less than other decks.
All right. Jake
Yeah,
considering his options here, but he is in trouble. We're going to see Iden deploy this turn probably, and honestly, between Iden and the client just swinging away, that would be 6 damage per turn. But the client might be used here instead to
oh,
put a
brutal.
bounty on. Oh,
Yeah.
big play there.
Yeah, big fell. That's exactly what he wanted. He played the fire spray right into fell.
Jake brings out Fett's Fire Spray, and Dusty immediately answers it with Fell the Dragon. Very efficient answer to a card like that. Punishing one lands 3 damage, but Dusty heals one of it with Iden. Looks like the client is once again going to be swinging into the base rather than using the bounty. And then we see Iden hitting the field as well. Blue Devil Boxer asks, "Is this my Iden blue list? LOL. Go Dusty, go." I don't know. I don't know what Dusty's exact list is, but it is double blue Iden, and he seems to be playing it pretty well here. Sauce says, "Still feel bad I put this cancer into the world." Not,
Hey,
I have, like I said earlier, I've played double blue Iden a fair bit, and
hey,
like I said earlier, it is not the most fun deck in the world to play against. But it's a valid deck. It's a fair deck. It's very interesting. Pro tip, one thing you can do if you're worried about playing against Iden double blue is you can bring out Sabine double red, who has some very good answers to some of Iden's plays. I was kind of hoping to do that in the previous PQ season. I had a double red Sabine build that I felt was well positioned into Iden, or well positioned into control in general, but the control decks didn't make as big of a splash to counter Boba as I had hoped. Now, I do think they've actually made a bit of a play error here. We see, I think, a P38 pinging Iden and exhausting her. My
yeah,
understanding of the rules is that Jango cannot actually exhaust if something is damaged, but the damage is blocked by a shield. Because Iden was not actually damaged by that effect, the shield blocked the damage. So I believe she should not be exhausted there.
yeah. I agree with you. That's my understanding as well. Takedown going off on punishing one, and the client bounty. I think.
No, the client bounty is being blocked there by a Tri-Fighter.
Oh, never mind. Never mind.
After Dusty put the bounty on, Jake brought a Tri-Fighter onto the field to prevent it. So even though the bounty did go off in a sense, the damage was not inflicted. And chat agrees with me that Iden should not have been exhausted there. So a bit of a play error, but I'm not sure how impactful it will end up being on the outcome of this game. It is worth noting the players are low on time. If the timer here is correct, they only have about 11 minutes remaining. And this is actually one of the downsides of the Iden double blue deck is that the games do tend to take a long time to resolve, and you can find yourself struggling with the clock more than you would with some other builds. When I play Sabine, I know that I'm usually gonna have ample time between rounds to chill, get a drink, use the restroom, that sort of thing. On double blue Iden, you might be playing right up to that time limit for multiple matches in the course of an event.
Yeah, I don't know what Jake is going to do about this situation. Um,
I
I
think it's
feel
gonna
like
at this point it seems extremely unlikely that Jake will possibly win this match unless Dusty concedes. Because even if Jake wins this round, he probably does not have enough time to win a third round.
right.
And
And
there's Supreme Leader Snoke.
Snoke hits
The
the field.
P-38 is removed from the field. Jango's ping again used to exhaust Iden validly this time. Force Commander Krugar asks, so what happens if time is called with the game incomplete? If time is called with this game incomplete, Dusty wins because he already has a game win. In the event that time is called with Jake having won this game and the overall game's 1-1, it would be a double loss after the extra time procedure unless one of the players concedes. This game does not have draws. I believe the reason this game does not have draws is to prevent IDs, intentional draws, which are very unpopular with some players. And as a result of that, the outcome of what might be a draw in some other games would be a double loss in this game.
Yeah, I mean, we could go into why intentional draws aren't allowed, but my brain isn't awake enough to explain that at this juncture. But it's yeah,
It's a
just
well-known controversy. Let's leave it at
yeah,
that
it's
for
a no
now.
exactly.
Okay,
Among
so
tournament
Jake
players.
did bring out Svet's Fire Spray and did some damage with that in the Tri-Fighter, but the damage is reduced by Supreme Leader Snoke. Jake is considering, I think, finally deploying Jango. I believe he still has not done that this game, but that Childson is still standing there as a huge obstacle. I'm not sure that Jango has much to do.
Yeah, like how could you do that like reasonably? Like you can't.
Now, the funny thing is, this client has been in play for a long time, but I think has only landed one heal thanks to that Tri-Fighter blocking and the a few situations where Dusty ended up attacking instead of using the bounty because of how the turn ended up. One funny thing about this situation is that Fell the Dragon now does not work on the Fet's Fire Spray there because it's debuffed and no longer has enough power to activate it. Ooh, but
Vigilance.
there is vigilance. I was talking earlier about how the Tri-Fighter is weak to vigilance, and we now see exactly why. It is defeated, and then the heal is resolved after it is defeated, which means that there's 5 healing from the vigilance itself, and then I think another heal there from Iden. So 6 points of healing might be enough to put this game out of reach for Jake. It was already looking tough for Jake, but that big heal is definitely not what he wanted to see here.
Something that I'm noticing in both of these games is where are the 1-drops in space? Like I guess it doesn't matter
I'm
with
not sure if he's running them.
it
Some
doesn't
people
matter
are
with Snoke,
definitely.
but
Yeah. Snoke means they're not relevant here, but some people are running things like even the basic TIE LN fighter, the one costs 2-1.
right. I guess I should say where were the 1-drops in space?
Yeah.
Like maybe some people think they don't
Well,
warrant
here
deck
we
slots.
go. It's a
Okay.
Ruthless Raider pinging Snoke. Jango exhausts Snoke and 2 damage to the base. 16 damage on Dusty's base now, but there's still 14 HP left. I think Jake has a surprise strike in hand, but I don't think it's going to be enough. And there's a Vanquish killing that Fet's Fire Spray. Dusty is
Ouch.
really in control of this game. That's another point of healing with Iden.
Yeah, it feels like Dusty has tons of answers right now, and
Absolutely.
Jake.
This is not where you want to be as the aggro player, and yeah, it's looking very difficult for Jake here. He hasn't even deployed his leader. That's how locked down he's been. He has a leader that deploys on 5, and he hasn't deployed, and we're here on 9 resources.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. Like I think as we said earlier, it's like this is one of those matchups where Django is, you know, possibly blank, but now in addition, we're seeing that he's not even able to deploy.
If Jake
Because
were able to find a waylay to bounce that Childson, he could potentially get some damage through with Jango. It's worth noting that Supreme Leader Snoke's ability does not work on leaders, but he just hasn't found anything to deal with Childson. I wonder if he sighted out his waylays. If he did, he's probably kicking himself here.
yeah, I think in this climate right now, I think Waylay is like necessary in my opinion, just because of stuff like this. And
there's the handshake. It's going to be a win for Dusty. Very strong performance with his double blue Iden handling this Jango red Tarkintown. Please don't nerf us in chat said the redemption is going to end this, but Dusty didn't even need to bring out redemption in order to win the game. Congratulations to Dusty on a strong win here.
Thanks for watching and supporting Maclunky Gaming. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time.